Manx Radio's Update with Beth Espy.
Well, first, good evening. Welcome to the programme, the end of another week. This is your whistle-stop rundown of what's been happening on the Isle of Man today. Everything you need to know in under 30 minutes. So coming up before 5:30, the Treasury Minister clears up some confusion over plans for a Manx pension guarantee. Manx Care says patients not turning up to their GP appointments continues to be an issue. And we're going to look forward to something opening this weekend, which really will be out of this world. As ever, we'll also keep an eye on the weather, the traffic and the travel and the latest sports news as well. And if you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you. studio@manxradio.com is the email, or you can text us. It's 166 177. We'll start with a rundown of the main news headlines with Chanel Fastamai. A verdict of suicide has been recorded at the inquest of a Ramsey man who drowned in 2023. Jamie Graham Barrow was reported missing on the 18th of September that year. His body was discovered by the crew of a fishing vessel on 12 days later. The Treasury Minister says his department's plan for a Manx pension guarantee has triggered a national debate by UK press attention and has confused matters. The triple lock will remain for those who retired before 2019, but Alex Allinson says that could change if the UK government decides to scrap it.
If they do get rid of the triple lock, then it will affect those pre-2019 pensioners, and then we'd have to see what we can do to help them.
And a yellow weather warning's in place for frost and ice from 6 p.m. this evening until 11 a.m. tomorrow. Temperatures are expected to fall close to or slightly below freezing tonight and could lead to frost or icy patches on untreated surfaces. In international news, a man's been jailed for life after shaking his partner's toddler to death. Christopher Stockton will spend at least 25 years behind bars for the murder of 22-year-old Charlie Roberts. Swedish police have identified 7 women and 4 men among the dead in the country's worst mass shooting. They were attacked by a 35-year-old man. And Donald Trump's revealed he'll sign an executive order stopping what he calls a ridiculous Biden push for paper straws. The president says the US is going back to plastic. Those are your headlines. News at 6. Thank you very much indeed, Chanel. Now, the weather brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. And first of all, another yellow weather warning. This is coming into place from 6 p.m. until 11 tomorrow. It's for frost and ice. Again, most at-risk areas are higher ground above 1,000 feet, as well as those sheltered low-lying spots in central and western parts of the island. So it will be dry this evening. Clear spells, a fresh to strong easterly wind. That'll turn cloudy overnight. The chance then of 1 or 2 showers developing. Minimum temperatures will generally be around 2 Celsius. It will, though, be close to freezing over that higher ground and in those sheltered low-lying spots, so that's where the frost and icy patches are likely to be. Tomorrow, fairly cloudy, mostly dry, an isolated shower possibly, a moderate to fresh easterly wind. That'll turn northeast and fall light. Temperatures, though, only 6 Celsius tomorrow. It's really cold, isn't it? Largely cloudy on Sunday again, although mainly dry, and some patchy light rain possibly. Sunset this evening, 11 minutes past 5. Sunrise tomorrow morning, 7:53.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
If you run a small business or just need more room in the back, Philshaw Vehicles has the perfect van or light commercial for all your needs and can sort out any finance. Based in the Tremode Estate, view philshawvehicles.im or call 49 51 49.
A great night's sleep got even better with Zed's Bedding Store. From quality Beldorm bed linen and mattress protectors, fleece and woven throws to luxury duvets from the fine bedding company. Zed's Bedding Ramsey, next to Isle of Man Bank.
SMS Trading. New and second-hand furniture from flat pack to fully built. See our range at 3 St Paul Square, Ramsey. All island delivery and man in a van service available. Call SMS Trading on 315151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
The exclusive Karcher store is open with thousands of products, accessories and parts in stock. For Karcher sales and service, Hersham Electrical, Shipyard Industrial Estate, Ramsey.
You're listening to Update here on Manx Radio. It's coming up to 5:05. Now, a verdict of suicide has been recorded at the inquest of a Ramsey man who drowned in 2023.
Jamie Barrow was reported missing on 18th of September of that year, and his body was discovered by the crew of a fishing vessel off the coast of Cranstall 12 days later. Well, news editor Tessa Hawley has been at the conclusion of Mr Barrow's inquest today, and before we go any further, we must say this report does contain some information that you may find distressing. First, Tessa, a really sad time for Mr Barrow's family. What did the coroner determine in this hearing?
So today marked the culmination of 2 days in court for Mr Barrow's family. On Wednesday, the court heard the evidence in this case before coroner James Brooks recorded his findings this afternoon. Now, ultimately, Coroner Brooks said he was satisfied that the 39-year-old had had a settled intention to end his own life when he'd entered Ramsey Bay in September 2023.
Who did the court hear from this week?
So predominantly the medical professionals who'd played a part in assisting Mr Barrow with his mental health over the years. Now, details of his interactions with the mental health service in the days before his disappearance was outlined, and that included a number of attendances at Nobles Hospital. 8 days before he was reported missing, Mr Barrow had been seen by the crisis response team, including a psychiatrist based at Manannan Court, where Mr Barrow had been an inpatient earlier that month. A recording of a conversation between psychiatrist Dr Cameron Abid and Mr Barrow was played to the court, in which they were discussing Mr Barrow's wish to be readmitted. When Dr Abid confirmed he would be asking the community mental health team to continue overseeing his care instead, Mr Barrow was heard saying, "Do you see that, Mum? They don't care."
And what did Dr Abid say in response to that?
So, giving evidence to the inquest, Dr Abid said Mr Barrow had been highly motivated to be readmitted to Manannan Court, but he hadn't met the threshold. He added that whilst Mr Barrow was expressing suicidal thoughts, there was no intent or plan present, and he was showing no signs of capacity issues. He told the court, "All suicides are not preventable. My judgment on how best to manage that risk was to keep his treatment in the community."
And did the coroner then look at the issue of neglect in this case?
He did consider it, yes, but Coroner Brooks said despite repeated involvement with mental health services in the days leading up to Mr Barrow's death, there was no evidence of neglect by Manx Care. Acknowledging there was cause for concern in relation to the risk assessments conducted following Mr Barrow's last discharge from Manannan Court, Mr Brooks said he was happy with the action plan that Manx Care had now put in place, which followed a serious incident investigation report after Mr Barrow's death. And formally closing the inquest, Coroner Brooks said it was clear how kind, artistic, intelligent and humorous Mr Barrow was, adding, "I'm sure he will have had an impact on all who knew him."
Tessa, thank you. You'll be able to find more on this story at manxradio.com alongside details of local organisations that can provide advice and support to those in need. You listen to Update here on Manx Radio, 8.5 minutes past 5. The Treasury Minister joined us on Manx Radio Breakfast this morning to clear up what he described as confusion over plans for a Manx pension guarantee. Now, this measure, if approved by Tynwald, would mean the state pension for those who retired after the 5th of April 2019 would rise annually from April this year by either the preceding September's figure for Manx CPI inflation or 2%. Whichever was higher. Now, headlines in recent weeks have suggested this is the Isle of Man government scrapping the triple lock altogether, but Dr Allinson says that's not the case.
This has actually triggered sort of a national debate, and that's exactly what I said we needed at the end of last year. Now, I'm not going to presuppose anything about the debates we're going to have at House of Keys next week or Tynwald afterwards. But what we're really trying to do with this is preserve the National Insurance Fund, because we've known since 2007 that if we do nothing, it's going to run out, and that's one of the bedrocks of our reserves. And also it cushions, so it deals with those years where we've got more money coming out of the National Insurance Fund to pay for pensions than is coming in. So it's really important that we preserve that. In 2016, as you say, we created our own Manx state pension. Before that, everyone was linked to the UK. And so what our proposals do isn't get rid of the triple lock. For all those people who retired before 2019, they will be getting exactly the same as they've always got. But that's at the control of the UK government. They get UK CPI, they get UK earnings, and we have no control about that. And we've seen recently that various political parties in the UK have started questioning the triple lock. What we're proposing is for those people who retired after April 2019, who are on the Manx state pension, which pays £241.50 a week, we will guarantee that in the future to be at least 2% or the Isle of Man inflation rate. So we are getting control over how we pay and how we upgrade the pensions for Manx people.
One of your colleagues, Minister Kane, has done a column in the newspaper. The headline that they've put on it, "I'm glad we scrapped the triple lock." Their subhead mentions the pledge has been scrapped. That's obviously not quite in line with what you're saying. Do articles like this cause a bit of confusion for the public?
They do, and that's I've tried to address some of the claims made in the UK press and by UK media that we're scrapping the triple lock. As I said, we are not scrapping the triple lock. What we're doing is absolutely honouring the pledge to those pensioners before 2019 that we will carry on. Their pensions are very intricately lined up with the UK, and we actually get pension settlement from the UK each year to pay some of the NI that they paid into the UK system. So that's absolutely correct. But for those pensioners past 2019, we want to guarantee that we and Tim will decide how much extra they get every single year, and we'll guarantee that going forward.
That is the Treasury Minister, Dr. Alex Allinson, who joined us on Breakfast this morning. It's 11 minutes past 5. Manx Care says demand on GP services remains high and the number of patients not attending appointments continues to be an issue. Now, the health provider has published data from the service as part of its board papers for next week's sitting. Sian Cowper's been taking a look.
Last year, general practitioners on the island saw on average more than 32,000 patients each month. Manx Care says patients at some surgeries are facing longer waits for appointments than others. Ballasalla, Peel and Snaefell have the shortest waits at 5 days or less, but those registered with Laxey may have to wait more than 20 days to see their doctor. The board papers cites the growth of the island's population increasing the size of doctors' lists among the reasons for the high demand. The service has 6,400 consulting hours each month, which is up 28% over the last 10 years, but the average length of an appointment has increased by 40% over the same time. However, staffing isn't proving too challenging for the island's practices at the moment, with Manx Care reporting few vacancies across the surgeries. It's also confirmed it's about to commence a pilot for a virtual GP service and is continuing to hold talks with GPs who may be interested in relocating to the island.
Sian Cowper reporting to say that Manx Care board meeting takes place next week. We'll bring you the details as soon as they're published. Here was some news that broke earlier today. Flights to some key routes from the Isle of Man are going to be reduced from April. Now, between April and October this year, easyJet flights will not operate on certain days, as Siobhan Fletcher reports.
If you were hoping to travel to Liverpool, most Tuesday, Wednesday and Saturday journeys will be impacted. Meanwhile, if you want to travel to Manchester, most trips on Tuesdays and Wednesdays will not operate. Journeys during the TT fortnight, however, will go ahead as normal. The Gatwick flights are not impacted. In a statement, an easyJet spokesperson says it closely reviews the flying programme to ensure it's aligned with the schedule and customer demand. You can find the full list of disrupted flights at manxradio.com.
Siobhan reporting, as I say, that full list is on our website with all the details. It's to and from Liverpool and Manchester. And yes, they say they are closely reviewing the flying programme. Any more news, we'll bring it to you. In fact, we will be talking about this a little bit more on Monday's Breakfast. 13 minutes past 5. Local authorities in the north and west of the island have announced what their new rates are going to be for the next financial year. There are going to be increases for residents in Michael, Andreas, Lezayre and German. Our local democracy reporter Emma Draper has the details.
In the West, Michael Commissioners has increased its rates for the next financial year by 13 pence. The new rate is 161 pence in the pound, and the local authority says higher charges at the Western Civic Community site, as well as election costs and a Japanese knotweed removal programme, are behind the increase. It says this year's raise is based on sound financial provision and will ensure a sustainable budget for the future board to take forward. The local authority added it had been kept low previously due to the pandemic and had been using its reserves to alleviate the high inflation rates. Bride Commissioners has confirmed its rate will be kept at 70 pence for residents, saying it's been prudent while budgeting. For residents of Lezayre, the Commissioners have announced a 3.7% increase for the next year. It will now be set at 114 pence in the pound due to increased running costs in the parish. German Commissioners has set its rate at 97 pence in the pound and has a £165 fixed charge for refuse. Whilst Andreas Commissioners has also increased its rate to 144 pence in the pound.
Emma Draper reporting.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Well, the police aren't saying anything on their social media pages, so hopefully all okay for your drive home, and it'll just be the usual roadworks to look out for. If you spot anything, 166 177, or you can email studio@manxradio.com. All looking okay down at the airport. And then the steam packet, the next sailing is going to be the Manxman coming back from Heysham at 5:30, getting into Douglas at around 9:15. The overnight sailings tonight, tomorrow and on Sunday into the early hours of Sunday morning have been cancelled. We'll have more details of those on our website very shortly, but you can go to steam-packet.com.
Ask how you can spread the cost interest-free at Quayside.
It's just gone 16 minutes past 5, and the Health and Social Care Minister claims cost was not the driving factor behind scrapping face-to-face parent craft sessions for pregnant women on the Isle of Man. Manx Care has moved to an online model, which Claire Christian claims offers more flexibility and accessibility for those expecting a baby. But the health body's decision was queried by MHK's Joni Farragher and Laurie Hooper in the House of Keys this week.
But what about the social and emotional support of meeting other parents? What about the proven reduction in postpartum depression from peer support? Why are we taking the opportunity for that valuable peer support away from people? Does the Minister agree how important it is to provide that?
Can the Minister advise what steps were undertaken to make sure that those who are digitally excluded, who may not be able to access these services online or digitally, actually would still be able to access the service? It seems like you've gone all or nothing here. It's gone entirely online. So I'd like to know what's being done to make sure those people who, for whatever reason, can't access it online aren't excluded from doing so. And can the Minister also confirm that saving money was not a factor in this decision?
The decision was taken prior to my taking this post, so I'll have to come back to the Honourable Member, as he was Minister at the time, to discover whether it was anybody or any assessment was on those for digitally excluded. He will also probably know that an assessment in cost has not taken place, as this is not the driving factor, and the priority for moving maternity parent craft sessions from face-to-face to video is for accessibility and convenience, flexibility and self-paced learning, inclusivity and continuity.
That is the Healthcare Minister, Claire Christian, responding to the former Health Minister, Laurie Hooper there. Now, Island TT competitor Michael Evans believes his move to Daffabet Racing for 2025 will give him the confidence and the tools to get him to the next level this season. The Santon man continues to pursue the dream of one day winning a TT race. He's won several MGPs, but he's happy to remain patient as he continues to work towards that goal.
I'm excited to see how I can progress with the Honda, and I think that, you know, it's going to be tricky because it's a new bike for both parties, and they've not been, RC Express haven't been to the Northwest for a while. It's going to take time, but these things always do, and it's an evolution. You don't learn something, you miss something next, you learn it the year after. I've had the same with my own bike. It took 2 years to get to a position where you know how it works and kind of a good base setup, so I'm hoping we can do it a bit quicker than that.
When it comes to the team side of things, I wonder how much of a change that's going to be for you, because it presumably sort of take a little bit more of a step back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I just need to remember that, because what I want to do is not have to worry about being a mechanic, because I'm not a very good one. Is just worry about the riding, so I can make sure that I'm ready. And there's other people in that same situation. So, but it would be nice to just concentrate on myself.
What would success look like for you for 2025?
I've always just wanted to improve. Like I say, I mean, people like John McGuinness have been here for far too long. But he's improving. His last year was his fastest ever 6 laps, and people might say that he's passed it or whatever, and I don't see why. There's Hickman and Davey and people like that. They're going really, really fast, but it's just experience and improving. So obviously I'd love to say to you, I'm going to win every single race. That's what I'm racing for, whether it's realistic or not. I want to win a TT. I wouldn't put myself in this position without that being the main goal. I'm won at the Manx, so I know what that feeling is. So I kind of I'm addicted to that feeling. But you can't just go from you're not going to go from one place straight up to winning a TT. So improvements, I think, is something that I'm looking forward to. I think just if we can improve in any area, it's all building up to hopefully that day when all that experience and all those years of learning add up to that moment.
That is Michael Evans, who's talking to me as part of the Journey to a Dream podcast. You can find the full interview at manxradio.com. A load of other interviews on there as well, with people involved in all aspects of motorsport here on the Isle of Man and further afield too. So it's just coming up to 5:20, and I mentioned at the start of the show that there's something happening at Cathedral Isle of Man this weekend. It's literally out of this world. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. We can join Judith Lay, who is at the Cathedral in Peel for us this evening. Jude, just tell us what's happening.
Well, at this moment, Beth, the cathedral is very quiet. It's bathed in a lovely kind of evening glow. But I have to tell you that there's been so much work going on here today, and so much more to resume in the morning as we prepare for the arrival of the moon. And it's this wonderful art installation by very gifted artist Luke Jerram, who we had the Gaia exhibition in St Thomas's Church in Douglas last year. Many people would remember that. 13,000 people looked at Gaia and saw the world in an entirely different perspective, in an entirely different way. And I'm absolutely sure that when they come into the cathedral in Peel from Sunday onwards, that they're going to see the moon in a totally different perspective, because it's something that we look at. It's exceptionally beautiful when we see it up in the sky, when we see it reflected on the sea. But to look at it in this way, it's a scale model to get some idea of the enormity of it, the complexity of it, and the beauty of it. And that's what we're going to be able to see in the setting of the newly reordered cathedral that probably quite a lot of people haven't seen, that gives us this very beautiful, very restful, open space, perfect for us to be gazing at the moon. And the installation will complete tomorrow. The cathedral will be pretty much closed to the public tomorrow, Saturday. There will be a special soft opening for all the volunteers just tomorrow evening, all the people who will be stewarding during the course of the exhibition being here. And then from 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, the doors will open. And I think what's important to say, there's a couple of things that I would like to say. First of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the Isle of Man Arts Council, because they've very generously funded this as part of their extraordinary events fund celebrating their 60th anniversary. And they've been a tremendous support. So a big thank you to them. And also a big thank you to all the volunteers who will be stewarding and making cups of tea and cakes, and because, you know, that oils the wheels of everything that we do on the island. Nice cup of tea and a bit of cake. And there will be refreshments available for those who would like them. But, you know, people stewarding to make sure that everyone who comes in has the best experience. And there are a lot of events, a whole range of events, but there'll be lots of quiet times too, when you can just wander in and just do your own thing, as you might say. And all we would say is that when you come in, if there's an event going on, it might be a teddy bear's picnic for under 4-year-olds, or it might be Pilates, or it might be a school group visiting. You're still very welcome to come in and walk around. Just respect what's going on, and, you know, just give a little group their space if they're doing something. But people are very welcome to walk in. Just a few events that are ticketed and where you will need to have a ticket to come in, but they're advertised on the Facebook page. You can imagine there's a Facebook page for it. And there is also a printed program with all the details on, and that's out and about now, so that'll be quite easy to pick up a copy. Or, as I say, if you go to Museum of the Moon, that's its official title. So if you have anything to do with Facebook, if you just search for Museum of the Moon in Peel, and you will find the page with lots of details and links and, you know, basically all the information you need. But the main thing is 9 o'clock in the morning, the cathedral doors open. Don't miss this. It's really, really special. Come in, see the Museum of the Moon and see how it speaks to you. There's a soundscape going on around it. And also, I must just mention what I would call static displays that have been created. Floriat Floral Art Group, local people, brilliant imaginative arrangers, have done some superb arrangements of floral art around the cathedral. And also thank you to photographer Brooke Wassell, is providing some wonderful dark skies photography. That will be also an exhibition that you can just walk around and look at, something else to look at while you're in the cathedral. So
Jude, it really sounds magical, absolutely magical. And I think, as you say, 13,000 people saw the Earthscape in St Thomas's. This is going to be absolutely wonderful as well. We'll leave you to get unpacked and start building it then, shall we?
Yeah, that's. I'm just going back at the scaffolding now. You know me.
Oh, Jude, thank you so much. That was Judith Lay talking to us live from Cathedral Isle of Man in Peel, and that really will be a spectacle worth seeing. There'll be more details on our website. Talking of spectacles worth seeing, here's Rob Pritchard.
Thanks, Beth. Taking a look at sport then. First off tonight, well, the first round proper of this year's ECAP FA Cup competition and a cup final headline another busy schedule of Manx football fixtures this weekend. On Saturday, 16 teams enter the fray in the FA Cup, with all but one of the ties due to get underway at the earlier time of 1:30pm. Among the fixtures is a meeting of two Canada Life Men's Premier League titans as Ayr United host Corinthians, and a Northern derby as Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys host Ramsey. Meanwhile, the second leg of this year's 11-a-side Canada Life Women's Floodlit Cup final is penned in for Sunday, with Peel taking on Corinthians. Both sides played out a 1-1 draw in the first leg back on the 1st of December 2024. You can view the full schedule of this weekend's Isle of Man football fixtures at manxradio.com. Elsewhere, there's a busy rugby schedule on the Isle of Man this weekend, with Douglas, Vagabonds and Vagabonds Ladies all on home soil for their latest clashes. For Douglas, they'll be hoping it's third time lucky to carry out their rearranged Regional 2 North West tie against Eccles, which has suffered repeated postponements due to previous weather and travel disruption. That game's due to kick off at Portachee at 2pm. And there's a double header at Bala Fletcher starting at 11:45am as Vagabonds Ladies host Winnington Park in Women's NC2 North South. Straight after that, the rejuvenated Vagabonds men's team are back in Counties 3 8am Lancashire Cheshire action against Duckenfield at 1:30pm. And finally in hockey, the two early frontrunners in the men's and ladies Premier Leagues will be hoping to maintain their perfect starts to the season tomorrow. Men's top flight leaders Bacazet will be targeting a fourth straight victory against Valkyrie at QE2 at 2:15pm. Ladies Premier League leaders Castletown A will also be aiming for 4 wins from 4. They're up against Harlequins A at King William's College on Saturday, also getting underway at 2:15. You can see the full programme of this weekend's hockey matches on our website.
I'm out of breath just listening to you, Rob. Thank you very much. It's a quick skedaddle to the next studio, where Rob will be back in a couple of minutes with the Friday Sport Preview. That's going to be followed by Greatest Hits with Chris Kinley at 6:30 tonight. Sweet and Swing with Howard Kane will be at 9. And then Nick Holt, shell suit and all, will be here with the 90s playlist from 10. As we say, as ever, do go to our website if you can for all the details on tonight's top stories. You can listen to the interviews in full as well with the Manx newscast. You can also find those on our YouTube channel as well. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have a good one. Just be careful out on the roads if you're out and about, and we'll be back with you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.